Hey everyone, a few weeks ago I posted a video about how to sync tape recorders with a DAW. Based on the feedback, I can see you're looking for more details. So today we're going to dive in a bit deeper to that setup. This time I'm using a 4-track tape recorder, much more common and accessible for most people, so let's get into it. In this video I'm going to walk you through how to sync a 4-track tape recorder with Logic Pro, so you can mix that vintage analog warmth with the flexibility of modern digital production. Alright, let's break it down. Here's what you need for this setup. 1. A 4 or 8 track cassette player, something like the Tascam 246 or 424 works perfectly. 2. An audio interface for connecting your DAW to the tape recorder. 3. 2 free software applications which let your DAW communicate with your tape machine. I'll put some links in the description. And 4. Logic Pro, which is what I'm using here, but any DAW that reads MTC should work. First, download the free apps listed in the description, then open up Timecode Clock. This is the software which we'll use to record the sync tone onto tape. We'll keep it on LTC, but need to change the frame rate from 30 to 29.97. We then need to choose which device we'd like to use to send the sync tone to tape. In my setup, I'll use my Scarlett audio interface, so you'll just need to select whatever interface you've got from this menu. Next step is hooking up a cable from an output on your audio interface into the last track or the sync input of your tape machine. For me, that's track 4. So I assign that by turning the pan knob to the right hand side and selecting assign switch 4. This will differ depending on your machine, so check the manual if required. We also need to turn the DBX off on track 4 as it will affect the accuracy of the sync tone otherwise. Great, so final step is to turn down the volume slider on Timecode Clock, press play and gradually turn it up until we hit -3 dB on the input of the tape recorder. You'll also want your speakers turned down at this point as the sync signal makes an awful noise. So I'll hit record on the 246, return to 0, then press play on Timecode Clock and start printing the sync code onto tape. A good rule of thumb is to make sure you stripe the tape for about 30 seconds longer than the length of the song you plan to record. Right, part 1 is done and the code is on tape. Okay, let's rewind the tape back to the start and unplug the cable from track 4. We're now going to open up Lockstep and get the tape machine talking to the computer. I'm going to choose the LTC input as channel 8 on my interface. I'd suggest you pick the last available input on your interface, which will probably be channel 2, 4 or 8, depending on your device. We then need to plug in a lead to make sure a physical connection from the sync track on tape is going to our audio interface. For my setup, that's a phono jack from tape output 4 to 1/4" jack on channel 8 on my audio interface. Now let's open up Logic and get it set up. Make sure you've got the advanced features switched on by going to Logic Pro, Settings, Advanced, and click the Enable Complete Features box. Then go to File, Project Settings and Synchronization. Here we change the sync mode from internal to MTC and the frame rate to 29.97. The last thing to do is change the start point to play at SMPTE to 0. This will then match our settings in Timecode Clock. Now that's in place, we should be ready to go. Now that everything's hooked up, I've got a drum beat running in Logic and my Behringer L drum is synced via MIDI. The big test is, will the tape machine control Logic's transport and keep everything in sync? Okay, let's press play and find out. Straight in, excellent. Okay, I'm going to stop it. You can see it stopping on Logic as well. Let's see if it starts back in sync again. Yep, right on the money, straight back in, brilliant. Alright, let's fast forward, press play again. Yeah, nice one. Seems to be working fine, excellent. The other cool thing I can do here, because I've got the LM drum hooked up via MIDI, I can add a bit of live percussion on top if I want to, or even record the new MIDI data at the same time. So a few possibilities with this setup. Okay, let's move on to the next stage. Now we've got the sync down, let's start recording. I'm going to lay down bass, main vocals and acoustic guitar on tape on the Tascam, all while staying in sync with Logic. We'll need to take an audio feed from Logic and play that into the 246 so we can monitor both systems while overdubbing. Channels 5 and 6 are perfect for this on my machine, and most Portastudios have a similar stereo input you could use. I want to record bass on track 1, so I need to do the following steps on the 246 to make that happen. Plug into channel 1, select bus 1, pan to the left, hit the record function for track 1, and I'm all set to go. The tape's already rewound to the beginning, so I just need to hit record and play, and then the drum track will come from Logic, and I'll play along to that and lay down the track. I'm sure you get the idea, so I'll do the next couple of tracks off camera, then come back and show you what it sounds like. Okay, bass, main vocals and acoustic guitar on tape. Let's hear it back and see how this hybrid setup is shaping up. Right, before I press play, just need to remember to change the input monitoring over on this machine, so I need to change that to RMX for the first 3 tracks. Okay, let's hit play. So remember, I've got the tracks from Logic coming through on 5 and 6. These ones are coming straight from the tape. Yeah, good. That sounds in time to me, which is a good sign. Great. We'll do the check again to see if it starts up in time after we stop. Let's press play again. No drums yet. Good. Okay, drums back in. Oh, it's gone a bit crazy now. It's sped up. It's slowed down now as well. Oh no. I think that's back in. So this technique's obviously not perfect. It has to have a little bit of time to kind of bed itself in when it comes back in again. Let's take the drums out. So say that's just the tracks from tape. Put acoustics on 3. Bass on 1. And vocals on 2. Anyway, you get the idea. Let's put the drums back in. Alright, so it seems to be working alright. Let's move on to the next stage. Alright, so I've been busy off camera getting some more parts laid down on Logic, and you can see that on the arrange page. So I've got some backing vocals and a lead guitar there. So let's press play and see how that sounds and if things are staying in sync still. Good, yeah. Bass is on tape. Lead guitars over here. There's the elements from tape, and here's all the stuff from Logic. My plans just keep deflating. You said you'd be here, where'd you go? Yeah, great, that's working all right. Like last time, let's stop and press play again, see if it works, or if it does that thing where it goes slow again. No, it's okay that time. Good. Baby, I'm out of time. I was trying to make it work, but it's there's the bass. Told me you'd be vocals. Patient, but we're running dry. Just the stuff from Logic. Let's bring the bass back in. Main vocals. And acoustic. Great, so it's working properly now. Good stuff. Let's move on. Here's the magic of this hybrid setup. I can use Logic's plugins for EQ, reverb and effects while mixing the analog tape tracks in real time for that classic warmth and maybe adding some external outboard gear. By syncing everything together, I can automate my DAW, tweak the tape tracks and even add MIDI elements with outboard gear like the LM drum. We could also back up the 3 tape tracks we've got on the Tascam to Logic, wipe the tape and do another 3, effectively giving us unlimited overdubs. So what's the takeaway? The pros, it's fun, it's creative and you can get some truly unique sounds. The downside? The setup might take a little more time and patience. You can also get some weird glitches from time to time when the speed changes, but the sonic payoff, I think it's worth it, especially if you've already got a cassette recorder which you can use already. Obviously the software is free, so why not give it a go? If you're ready to give this hybrid approach a try, I say go for it, and if you've got any questions or need more details on the gear or the process, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to help. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Happy recording.